Excellent. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming to the 2026 annual meeting of Township Assessors. We will go ahead and get started. Everybody has a book. For those folks who are online, we can email you a copy of the manual, or you can come in and pick it up yourself, however you would like to do it. Let's go ahead and get started. Next slide, please, Dan. We're just going to go over a brief year in review with our transitions on staff. We did say goodbye to a couple affiliated staff members and folks who worked with the assessor's office this year, worked for assessors for some cases for a very long time. Josh Schuster, our GIS specialist, left us to go take a position with the town of Normal. We wish him the best of luck. Gene Yeast, after a long career of service, left the Board of Review in November. And last but certainly not least, Connie Clifford, our wonderful and intrepid Assistant CCAO, finally retired in November. And very good for her, very good for her. But every goodbye has a new beginning. Next slide, please, Dan. So we welcome several new folks to our team. So Rachel Milton and Floyd Aper are our new Board of Review members, if you haven't already dealt with them. I'm also giving a opportunity for those of you who have not met our new GIS specialist, Lily Medley, who's sitting here next to me. She just started in November. She's a wealth of knowledge. She's doing a fantastic job. And Sean Harner has been promoted to fill Connie's position. She is my new Assistant Chief County Assessment Officer. She started in that role in November, and once again, she's doing an absolutely bang-up job of picking up where Connie left off. Next slide, please, Dan. So here is our current staffing matrix. Sean is the Assistant County Assessment Chief County Assessment Officer. She's, like I said, filling in the role for what Connie did. She is doing everything related to our office, just overall administration. She also is our Chief Public Access and Open Records Officer. She does a lot of work on PTAB cases for residential properties, and will be responsible for administering non-homestead exemptions. That leaves our assessor position currently vacant for this period of time. The assessor is the one who's responsible for being the liaison with all of you. Sean will still kind of be doing that in the immediate term. I know there's not a lot going on right now, but as we transition to the new assessment year, we will hopefully have somebody else slotted into that position to help take some of the burden off of Sean. Lily, like I said, is our GIS specialist. She is responsible for parcel splits and combinations, for farmland valuation issues, and for anything related to mapping. She's been taking a lot of time to learn and understand what it is exactly that we do specifically with the mapping function at the county. And like I said, she's really picking it all up. There's going to be some learning curve there. We obviously expect and anticipate that, but don't hesitate to ask her any questions. She's proven very reliable, and if she doesn't know the answer, she can escalate it up the chain to get you the answer you need. So don't hesitate to start with her as your point of contact, and we can work it on up the chain. Next slide, please, Dan. And then obviously our existing staff, Mary and Jill, our administrative specialists for Border Review, Mary's for Border Review and Working Appeals specifically. Jill is our transfer declarations expert and helps us with homestead exemptions, and Stephanie as well is one of our administrative specialists doing taxpayer counter work, telephone support, and she also does a lot of work with homestead exemptions, and she's become our staff expert on senior issues and disabled veteran issues. Next slide, Dan. Our Board of Review, as you can see, I already mentioned we have 2 new members on the board, 3 new members in the last term of the board. Now we've completely refreshed the board over the last year and a half or so. Bob Common is the chair, and then our newest members are Rachel Milton, who was appointed in June, I believe, of or her first term started in June of, first full term started in June of this year. And Floyd Aper was appointed just back in November. The Board of Review meets to organize on or about May 1st of the year, and then they don't do much until the board kicks in and starts meeting after notices go out. But they've been doing, again, an excellent job of getting us through. We are ahead this year in terms of where we've been in the past couple years. As you know, for the last couple years, we've been having hearings right up through past the holiday and right up to the new year. This year we are, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we are anticipated to have our final hearing on the 19th, which will give us a little bit more time to get decisions out and get things ready to start the new year. So we're very, very pleased with that. Next slide, please. Publication recap. Our first books were submitted on February 26th. Shout out to you, Justin, out there. I know you're on the call. And our last books were submitted on September 18th. Again, this was a marked improvement from the prior year when our last books were turned in. I can't remember, they were turned in October, however, which caused the appeal deadline to be pushed up to the week of Halloween, or I'm sorry, to the week of Thanksgiving. And that obviously caused us to have to compress our timetable down. So with that submission on September 18th, we were able to get published on September 29th, which meant we could have a deadline before Halloween, which gave us a lot more calendar to work with. So as I keep saying, timely submission is vital. The sooner we get books in, the sooner we can be done. And we're starting to see the tangible results of that. So I really want us to keep working on getting in that direction. Our deadline statutorily for books to be turned in is June 15th or the next business day thereafter if it falls on a holiday or a weekend. 25 townships were submitted by that deadline. And we are going to, like I said, we are going to continue putting emphasis on getting that done for the reasons that I've already mentioned. Next, please. Our publication recap, again, another initiative I've been trying to do is to condense our publication dates down so that we don't publish in as many, and so we don't publish on as many different dates and have so many different deadlines for townships to be done. This year we had 3 deadline dates because we had 3 publication dates. In prior years, we would have as many as 7 or 8 or even 9 different deadlines for when the Board of Review appeals can be accepted. And this really, really makes it much easier for our staff to know and be able to provide information to taxpayers without having to constantly re-reference what township has their complaint deadline. 3 is probably the sweet spot based on the law and the way we have to publish townships. I think 3 is probably as good as we're going to be able to get unless something changes. But we have to publish in, again, just to refresh you, if you have a newspaper that is published in your township, I have to publish the assessment roll in that newspaper. Now in McLean County, we are blessed with 9 different newspapers that are published in the county. So I have to make 9 different publications. You can see represented there on the map are the dates. The individual townships and their papers aren't on there. But you can see this is all what goes into doing what we do. Next slide, please. Here's our exemptions, at least up to the midpoint of the fall for 2025. Next slide, please. We did our 4th annual taxpayer information and listening series. Again, we did 6 different townships. Our first time, Mr. Martindale down in McLean. We had a great turnout for that event. Jeff came. That was an excellent event. We had not been down to that part of the county before, and so we were really excited to be able to go down there and have a meeting. They have a great facility there. What is that? Is that the township? The Township Park District building in McLean is a wonderful facility that they let us use. We also had meetings in our usual places, Leroy, Lexington, Normal, and Bloomington. And then we also did we had a request to hold a meeting in Cooksville. And so we were happy to go out there and sort of do a last minute meeting for those folks as well, and had a great turnout at that one. And again, what we do with that meeting is we go through and we explain kind of a very 30,000-foot view of how the assessment process works, why we do equalization, why we do what we do. Gives folks an opportunity to meet us and see us, and it gives them an opportunity to see their township assessor as well. So when we have these next year, I encourage all of you to come, and if your townships are in one of the areas that we're having one of these meetings, please come. We're happy to have folks see you. We work in conjunction with Becky McNeil in the treasurer's office and Kathy Michael in the clerk's office to give folks sort of a unified face and give everybody an opportunity to meet those of us who are doing this work and sort of demystify some of what we do. One thing I've found is people are much more agreeable about what we do once they start to understand the process behind it. They may not like it, but at least they understand why we do what we do. And that goes a long way in helping assuage some of their concerns they have about the tax process. We also, for the third time, had our presence at the county fair, which is always a fun event. We work in conjunction with county administration to have presence from McLean County, property tax offices initially, and then we started opening that up, and now we have a booth that represents all of McLean County. So we're really excited to be participating in that. Next slide, Dan. All right, so moving forward, we will have our 2027 farmland values sent to us at some point this spring. This is when the Department of Revenue will have those. Once we get those, we will convene the Farmland Assessment Review Committee, the FARC, and we'll do what's required of us there. Again, I want to stress one thing that we are going to sooner rather than later have to look at is bulk land classified currently as farmland. Starting to get a lot of questions statewide in places about why certain classes of property are being valued as farmland when they are not actively being farmed. And so we are at some point going to have to start looking at that. Moving forward, I want you to really give consideration when you're looking at bulk land, bulk pieces of land. Is this truly actively being farmed? Okay. Next slide. This is the second year in a row I have done and introduced the assessor manual that you see in front of you. We take a lot of time to put everything in writing to make sure you have a reference point to start with. If you have any questions, I've tried to cover everything I possibly can in the manual. So turn to the manual first. You probably will be able to find some kind of an answer in there for it. But if something does come up and you have a question, there are contact points on there in each section for folks you can reach out to here at the office, and we can try to answer your question. This is just a repeat of last year. If you're submitting blueprints and data, please verify that the project is built to plan. Sketches are fine, sketches are wonderful, blueprints are wonderful, but if the blueprint doesn't match what's actually on site, then that's not really a useful rubric for us to work off of. So please verify that your sketch matches what's actually being built, because those things do change. If any of you have income and expense information on affordable housing projects, please get those up to us so we can do the value if you're not going to do it yourself. Review proration instructions in the manual as well. Proration is something that's a sticky and thorny situation sometimes, and so we want to make sure we're doing it in a consistent way. And again, if Sean or whoever our new assessor is has questions when the books come in, please answer those questions. We need to know, there's a reason why she asked those questions. We want to get clarification on that. So when you get those questions, please answer them. And if you don't intend to answer the question, just tell her, say, I don't have an answer to that, and we'll figure something out. But as long as those things sit out there, we're kind of in limbo with those. And again, another point of emphasis from prior years, we do certificates of error on errors in fact only, not errors in judgment or errors of opinion. The only time I'm going to issue a certificate of error is if there is something factually incorrect on the record that can be measured and is tangible. An incorrect square footage is an error in fact. Okay? A building that is no longer there that you had on the record is an error in fact. A condition issue, in most cases, is an error in judgment. We don't have time, we don't have the resources to be going around and after the fact making these subjective determinations. You know, we have a process in place. We are only going to use certificates of error when it is absolutely appropriately necessary. Next, please. Again, deadlines. We are continuing to focus on our deadlines. June 15th this year is the deadline. That is a Monday. Please have your books to us by June 15th. We're going to be constantly reminding you as we get closer to that date. Hey, it's coming up. What's your plan? When are you going to get us the books? What are we looking at here? If you don't think, for whatever reason, you can get it done by June 15th, please keep us apprised of what's going on. Nothing worse than the Friday before the deadline and we're scrambling around trying to contact you to figure out when we can expect to get those books in and when we might hear from you. And again, I'm not going to beat this dead horse other than to say that the sooner we get the books in, the sooner we can be done for the year. And that's what we're always striving for. Next, please. The biggest change that we're probably going to be dealing with next year in terms of exemptions and deductions, there is most likely going to be a change in the qualification for the senior freeze. The governor has not signed, the legislature passed a bill that changes the income threshold for the senior freeze. The governor has not yet signed it, but we have absolutely no indication that he's going to do anything other than sign it. They just take some time to get this stuff figured out sometimes. So, in the strong likelihood that this bill gets signed into law, we are getting for the first time in about a decade an increase in the income threshold for the senior freeze. It's going to go from $65,000 this year. For 2026, it's going to go to $75,000. For 2027, it's going to $77,000. And then for 2028 and thereafter, it will be $79,000. This is going to be great. It's going to get a lot more seniors eligible for the freeze. Fewer seniors will fall off. All wonderful news. But the big caveat here, this does not go into effect for taxes payable in 2026. It's only for taxes for assessment year 2026. So homeowners who might have questions, they see the tax bills are starting to come out for 25 payable 26, the spring installment, they're going to be like, well, I thought the governor raised, I thought they raised the threshold, and they did, but it's not until taxes payable in 2027. You're going to get calls. If people have questions, you can refer them to us. The reason we always are very judicious about these exemptions is because we need to give ourselves time to prepare for it. Had they put this into law that it would go into effect for 25 payable 26, it would have been an absolute nightmare for us to get folks certified and qualified with their income, and there's just not enough time for us to be able to do that. So we always request when they make these changes that they give us a year lead time so we can get our process in place, and we will be there for 26 payable 27. We just want folks to understand that it's not going to be any immediate relief for the coming tax bill. Next slide, please. Some staffing issues. If you have staff, if you are a township that has employees, we need you to verify your employee list so we can get those to the Department of Revenue for record-keeping purposes. Please, as soon as possible, communicate with us your current employee staffing situation. If you have not already done so as well, please immediately send us a copy of your oath of office. We need that as soon as possible, a copy of your oath of office. And for anybody who has not done so, please complete the annual sexual harassment training by December 31st. Board review, again, some last minute questions on evidence, nothing really all that different. Just be clear with what you're submitting. Please put clear headers on the documents that you submit. Say this is XYZ's township recommendation to the Board of Review for the value. Try to keep that information in a tidy way so that the board's not constantly scrambling to figure out what evidence is attached to what record. That's a big problem as we get into heavier workload times. It's hard to keep track sometimes with some of the evidence that comes in. We need it neat and orderly so the board can move as quickly as possible. Next slide, please. And here is our contact page. If you have any questions or concerns, please let us know. Please reach out and we're happy to help. One thing I do need to touch on, I meant to go on the previous slide with transitions, or the slide prior to that, Dan, sorry, on staffing updates. If there are any townships that you are taking on in the new year or are dropping off, for my folks who have multiple townships, if you are not going to be taking on, or if you're letting one of your townships go, we need to know who's going to be taking over that township. If you don't know who's taking over, that's fine, but you need to work with your, I guess now, prior board to have them contact us about who's doing the work in that township. We need to know who's going to be doing that. So reach out as soon as possible if you know that you're not going to be serving a township, and so that we can find the appropriate individuals to contact to get that information updated. Do you guys have any questions for me, those of you in the room? We all good here? All right. Well, thank you all for coming out. We appreciate it. And let's have a good and productive 2026.